felt like I was trapped on all sides, unable to really, no matter what it was I was going to do, I'd be screwed either way, and the walls were kind of closing in. Sometimes, I guess, not wanting to put up with consequences of my own actions and trying to avoid it, and I had to just get to the point of realizing, yes, I have to put up with the consequences of my actions, go through that, and then after that, I can start doing my own thing again. But it was a tough time.
Recently, I've been not too happy because I just feel really confined in my life, kind of, because I'm just stuck doing a lot of stuff that I feel like I'm just going through the motions because other people want me to. And so that's pretty depressing because I feel like I'm just kind of on this like track and there's no way for me to really get off, which is incredibly frustrating. But I don't know, just living like day to day and like seeing people who mean a lot to me and just doing stuff that does matter to me. I don't know, it doesn't necessarily like change the situation, but it makes me more able to cope with it. Um, and it also gives me this optimism that I do have a choice in what my future holds. So it makes me feel better.
When it's more despair time, trying to figure out how to pay the bills, not knowing how I'll make things meet ends. I'm closer to a 7 when I've got a few deals I closed and looks like everything's going well. Closer to 8, 8.5. When I'm enjoying myself with friends and partying and not thinking about that. Closer to a 9.
um, Probably about a 6 or a 7, maybe.
I've always been famous, it's just that everybody's now finding out.
There is a little impact of anything surrounding you. I mean, you look on there on TV and I see other people my age or a bit younger than me, or maybe just 2, 3 years older than me, that are multimillionaires, already figured out other ways to get so much farther ahead. So that element of it is making me think, wow, I took a different route. I took the route I was supposed to take and didn't really achieve the same results. But at the same time, I had a lot of fun with what I was doing, so I can't say I'd really trade it in.
Lady Gaga, you are incredible. You've become an icon.
No, I haven't. No.
All right, you won't admit it, but I'm going to say it to you. You are.
Very sweet.
Um, right now, my reasons for being unhappy don't really have anything to do with the media. So I would say they don't really factor in at all. Like if I'm like shopping online or something and every single model that I see weighs like 50 pounds less than me, then that probably will make me unhappy. But that's not a situation I'm in most of the time, so it doesn't really have a big impact on my overall happiness.
I like that quote. It has an element in that as your body starts to give off not being able to do things that it was able to do 5, 10, 20 years ago, you start realizing, wow, I was just sitting in front of a TV when I could have been doing all of this other stuff. But then again, you never really get that wisdom of the old unless you waste parts of your youth. If you take the lessons out of regret, then that's how you kind of build wisdom.
I can't really think of any best ways to learn a lesson because I feel like when you do something badly, it makes a lot more impact on you than when you learn something a good way. It's kind of, negative feedback has a stronger just influence on all organic functions in the body. But I don't know. One major thing that happened to me when I was 14 was that I lent a guy either 40 or 60 bucks. He claims it was 40 and I think it was 60 still. And then he never gave it back. And I mean, that's a really simple thing to have happen to you, but when you've grown up in a really sheltered environment for your whole life, it really threw me for a loop, because I thought he was just a 15-year-old kid who came from a similar socioeconomic background as me, and that he would pay me back just because, he has money clearly of his own. But then he didn't, and he just ripped me off, and I haven't seen him since then. So again, yeah, it's a small thing, but it did like totally change the way I see people. So that is probably like the worst way you can learn something, but it's really effective because I'm paranoid when I like first meet somebody. I don't really tend to lend people money very often unless I feel like they're a good friend or like they'll pay it back. So yeah, I'm just a little bit more like jaded, but it's almost like a good jaded, because before I was just too trustworthy or too trusting and too open with people, and that can be good, but you have to be strategic with how open you come across as being, because you don't want to come off as like naive or just silly.
Just kind of dealt with everything, and once I was done with it, I had to sort of put like a solid wall in my life and remind myself that was that portion of it. Doesn't need to impact me any further. Move on, have a big party, nice barbecue, good friends. And in my case, moving out of a city always helps.
I don't know about me in particular, but I think just for anybody, the most important thing should probably be just doing what matters to you. And that sounds really vague, which it kind of is, because, doing what matters to you is different from person to person, obviously. And just, you'll never really be happy with your life if you're stuck doing something that you don't care about. So it's only if you can really pursue something like completely and fully that really engages you that you'll be happy, like being alive and, living day to day.
Freedom is the most important. Just having the freedom to do as I wish, whether that means not work on a certain day, whether that means get on my motorcycle and go to the coast, or whether that means just hop on an airplane and go off to another continent for a month or two. Feeling like I have the ability to really dictate most of the elements in my life. And that's what is most important to me. It's easier to see the few things where things are better, grass is greener on the other side, etc. It's important to take one's life as a whole and look at everything that has shaped you up to this point, because every experience a person has gone through, good or bad, has made them the person they are today. All the friends they have, all the enemies they've created, all the successes and all of the failures. And the more stubborn of us humans learn a lot more from our mistakes than our successes anyway. You put all of that together, and that's what made you who you are today. At the same time, every new moment, every new day is another opportunity, unless you're stuck behind bars or something. It's a new opportunity to do something different with your life. So if you don't like what your situation is, change it. Change the process. Change what you're doing. You can't get different results when you're doing the same thing.
To the past me, I don't know, I almost feel like I should have maintained old aspects of my personality because I didn't have as many friends, but I did have more clearly defined interests that I was better able to like pursue because I had more time on my hands because I didn't hang out with people. So I'd say I would have, said like keep your interests up, like keep doing them, but then, expand your horizons and like actually talk to people. But then to the future me, I feel like I've learned a huge amount about just people and life in general over the past like year or two, just like throughout high school. And so I think I should just remember all the stuff that I've learned about just like what it means to like be human and grow up, because I feel like I've gained a lot of understanding about like how people live and how they think, and just broad social skills like paying attention to like what people do and why and how they interact with each other. So it's useful, it's like pretty broad and basic, and you don't really appreciate how much you can get out of just hanging out with people.
To the past me, hold on to your britches, it's gonna be one hell of an interesting ride. To the future me, you better be sipping on a nice beach on a great island with your home just within spitting distance.